please hit that subscribe button. Hey everybody, better suited to win the Stanley Cup this season. If you are new to the channel, Washington Capitals, the Boston Bruins.
Slapped out and he scored! And we're live. Hey everybody. So we're still moving along here with our off-season recap videos, and today we're going to be talking about the Winnipeg Jets. Before I get into it, I just ask you to please hit that like button and subscribe if you are new. Both of those things help out so much and are very, very much appreciated. But let's get started here. So for this video, I had Pearlo Wisdom, the great Pearlo Wisdom, on, and he went very, very in-depth into Winnipeg's offseason, all of their moves, and looking ahead towards next season. So I want to get right into it and let him take this away without me even saying anything. I will come back at the end and give my quick opinion on a few things, but we're going to get right into it here and let Pearlo take it away. Here we go.
Well, hello boys and girls, it's when I feel like the clock. I'm Pearlo Wisdom, and you're listening to my NHL Pearls of Wisdom. I have some exciting news. John from Off the Wall Hockey has asked me to do a team in a series that he's doing of every team in the league and their off-season moves and such. And he called me up, messaged me up and said, "Steve, would you do the Winnipeg Jets?" And I was like, well, of course I'll do the Winnipeg Jets. For John, the finest human on the planet, or one of, top 5, maybe top 10. Top 10 for sure, right? Top 10 top humans on the planet is John from Off the Wall Hockey. So I said, yeah, I will do that for sure. By the way, John has also signed up with steelflyers.com. It's going to be one of the finest websites ever in existence of humanity. Pretty cool. Go check it out. He'll be doing live shows on there. I'll be doing live shows on there. You can go on our channels and it tells you all about it. But we're going to get into the Winnipeg Jets and their off-season moves. Here's the Winnipeg Jets right here. Just happen to have it here on the Cat Friendly. Cat Friendly, it's the best there. I said it. But first, let's go look at said moves, shall we? Some of the moves they did. Signed Brossoit to a $1.5 million contract. Interesting, Brossoit has not been putting up the greatest numbers. He gets along really well with Hellebuyck, though. I'm just a little concerned with the condensed season that we want to be going with Laurent Brossoit as your backup when he really hasn't shown that he can play a lot of games. A little bit difficult. I'm putting this move as about a C-ish, somewhere around there. Dylan Demelo signed a 4-year contract at $3 million a year. It's fine. It's fine for $3 million a year. Doesn't make many mistakes. Defensive guy, not that big, not that small. Gets the puck out of the zone all right. Probably on really good teams he's a 5'6", but we'll get into that down the road here. Paul Stastny being acquired for the Vegas Knights. Didn't give much up to get him. We'll get into more of that when we start getting into the depth. I don't mind the signing, but we'll see. Nathan Beaulieu at $2 million. Average of 1.25. I don't mind it. Again, 5'6" guy, somewhere around there. It's all the money. It's the way it is. Lucas Spiza, $800,000, depth guy. Mason Appleton, 2-year contract at $900,000, 4th line guy. Worked his way up the lineup. Worked his way into the lineup and through college. He beat a lot of odds to make it to the NHL, and good for him for getting it. Nate Thompson signed a 1-year deal. Now, I'm a Philadelphia fan in general, and I saw Nate Thompson in the playoffs last year didn't look like he should be playing. So, I don't know. He's not a bad guy to bring in, I would say, for 40 games a season. I wouldn't want to be playing him too much. He's 36 years old. He can win faceoffs for you. He has some value. It's not horrible at $750,000. Tonanito, depth guy, fine. Seuss, no big deal. Then we get to Derek Forbert. Derek Forbert signs a 1-year contract at $1 million. I think that's pretty decent But we'll look more into how he's going to be played for that money when we go over to the depth chart as well. I think that the contract itself is good value for what Forbert can bring. Nogier, he's going to play more in the minors. Jansen's Harkins, good for them for giving him a 2-year for what he did in the playoffs. Potted a couple goals, played his ass off. Here's another guy that has earned every minute he's got to play in the NHL. Just would not stop. One of the hardest working guys you're going to find. Kudos to the organization for showing him some love and giving him $725,000 for 2 years yet. Sami Niku had a down year last year, and they're really hoping for a lot more from him. We'll get into that when we get in the depth chart. Marco Dano's an interesting guy. Bringing him in, I don't know what was going on with his life. The guy's got tons of talent, kept on slipping and slipping and slipping, went to Europe, did okay, now comes back, and Winnipeg's going to give him one more shot at a 1 year at $700,000. Very interesting to see how this guy turns out yet. He still has a chance. This is his chance. We'll see what he does with it. Colt Perfetti, getting him at the was it 8th spot was absolutely beautiful. Or was it the 10th? Sorry, 10th spot. Winnipeg picked 10th. Very nice pickup. Now, I want to tell you a little bit of something about Colt Perfetti, okay? The same things that people were saying about Pedersen, however you want to call him, from Vancouver, when he was drafted in the same spot, are the same things people are saying about Colt Perfetti. Incredible hands, great shot, just maybe defensively not the best, kind of slight, not big enough to play in the NHL maybe, and a little bit of skating issues, a little bit. Colt Perfetti scares me in the sense of in a good way. I think he could end up being one of the best in the draft. Like in the end, 10 years from now, you will look back and think he should have been a top 3 pick. So nice pickup by Winnipeg there. Leaving, Dahlstrom, Anthony Botetto, no big deal. Dahlstrom didn't hardly play, neither should he. Cam Schilling, no big deal. Cody Eakin leaving. We'll talk about that when we go to the depth chart, because they signed Stasny instead for more money, or brought him over, I should say, from Las Vegas for more money. And then Dmitry Kulikov leaves to New Jersey for not that much money. So let's go over to the depth chart here. Look at some of the things. First of all, we got to look at the most important thing in the land right now. Everybody wants to talk about is this, right? $0. $0 in cap space here for the Winnipeg Jets. And as we go through our depth chart here, this is a big reason. You got Blake Wheeler making 8, Connor making 7. Nothing wrong with that. There's nothing really wrong with these contracts going down here. Going with hardly any. Maybe Perot is a little high, yeah. Morrissey, Demelo, Pionk. It's just a case of a lot of people getting a lot of money, but a lot of these guys are coming off the books next year. There's going to be there could be some big changes going on next year for Winnipeg. So I'm talking about how they did for free agency and in the offseason so far. The big thing was Patrik Lioney. Okay, this is the reason why I said I would talk about Paul Stastny when we got to the depth chart. This is fine. Connor, Scheifele, Wheeler didn't really need an upgrade. They were talking about trading Patrik Lioney all summer long. I did a video months ago about the fact that Patrik Lioney could be traded. Not because I had any inside information, but I saw a lot of frustration in his game because Winnipeg kept on playing him on the third line with poor centers, and his numbers reflected it. So I said, watch, when they go into contract talks, much like they did with Trouba, they're going to start using his numbers to try to par him down in his contract. And I was saying that Patrik Lioney would basically under his breath be saying he wanted to be traded because he's too good of a guy to come right out and say it. But That was up in the air, and I thought it was going to happen. And then they went out and got Paul Stastny. Now, Paul Stastny, he comes from, his parents come from Europe, obviously, you know, Anton Stastny and all the Stastny. Peter Stastny is his father. But he was born in the United States. But something about Lioney and Stastny clicked when he was here. And Lioney didn't want him to leave. So we look at Paul Stastny. He makes $6.5 million this year. He really had a fall off in point production last year with Vegas. Only getting 38 points. Playing on a second line that wasn't too shabby. Had some pretty good forwards on there. Vegas had some pretty good depth, but he still dropped. So why bring him over? Maybe. Maybe they're trying to smooth things over with Patrick Lioney. And if that's the case, I'm giving him more of a plus for their ranking for this, because I think trading Patrick Lioney, unless you're getting a ton back, is a poor move. You want to sign this guy right now for $8.5 to $9 million a year for the next 7 or 8 years or whatever. Roll the dice on somebody who is Ben, even though he's been playing down in the lineup inexplicably, getting 28, 30 goal seasons, had a 44 goal season. This guy can put up some numbers, man, and that's hard to find in the NHL. So I'm going to reserve a little bit. I'm going to give him a little bit of plus for that move. Bringing in Nate Thompson, obviously they think that they don't have much to come up to play ahead of Nate Thompson, or maybe they do, and they're just bringing Nate Thompson in to show the younger guys that might be coming up how to be a competitor, because Nate Thompson sure is all of that. I'm not putting Nate Thompson down. He's just 36 years old, never really put up numbers, more of a face-off guy and a fourth line guy. It's not a bad pickup. I just don't think it's fantastic. And this is where the minuses start coming in and I can kind of understand them in a way, but I'm a little concerned going into next year. They signed Brian Demelo. Now we show that Brian Demelo is making $3 million a year. They signed him to a 3-4 year contract, something like that. $3 million a year, boys and girls, is not that much money. Now, if he can play up here with Joshua Morrissey on the top too, and he still progresses, which is unlikely at 27 years old, it's killer contract. But he's not going to be more than that. He should be playing here, and even that, he should be playing on the second pairing at the very most. On a really good team, he's here, okay? This, they traded Kulikov for. Not necessarily to replace Demelo, but they left Kulikov out to have Demelo, and they never got a number 2 person. So for this, I got to give a minus. Derek Forbert, on the other hand, is who they kind of brought in instead of Kulikov. And to me, it's just a lateral move. He's bigger than Kulikov, but a little. Forbert was taken in the first round. Where does it say? In 2015. Drafted 15th overall in 2010. Sorry, and by the Los Angeles Kings. He took a long time to come around. I think he was like 24 years old. He was stewing in the minors for quite a long time. Los Angeles brought him up slowly. He came in the AHL, played a little bit, went down to the AHL again, played a little bit. Then he had a full season in 16-17 after getting drafted in 2010. You see how long he went his full NCAA. He worked his way. He's worked for every minute he's had in the NHL, and it seems to be the MO of what Winnipeg was doing. They were looking for players that had worked their ass off to make it to the NHL. But again, he's not a top 4 now. LA took him up, brought him up to the best he can be, realized what his upside was, and said, okay, I'm trading you to Calgary. And they didn't get all that much for him. See what I mean? And now Winnipeg's going to take him on here to play with Pionk, apparently, according to Cap Friendly. This could change, but I mean, if Boilou's up there, it's no better. Neil Pionk, who they got from the Rangers, can play in the top four. It's okay. I'm not going to talk too much about it. I'm talking about who they brought in. They didn't bring anybody better than Nathan Beaulieu or Tucker Pullman, and to me, that's just not enough. Now they're going to hope that Sammy Nuku has a comeback year. Dylan Sandberg, who they drafted in 2017, has gone through his college, I believe. He'll play in the AHL. Logan Stanley's not progressing well. He was another first round pick in 2018. None of these guys are ready yet. Possibly Ville Heinola, who had some good offensive numbers last year in a limited role. However, his overall game leaves a lot to be. It's just not up to snuff. Let's put it that way. I don't see Ville Heinola playing for another year or two, and they didn't improve their defense. So, what I see for the Winnipeg Jets with all the moves they made is a team that basically is lateral. It's almost the same team as it was last year. Paul Stastny could have a bounce back year. Then it's not looking so bad. He replaced Cody Eakin. And basically you're getting the same player, possibly with a little more offensive flair. So my ranking, Mr. John, for the Winnipeg Jets here, because they didn't get worse, and they didn't really get better, and they never did trade Lioney, and they have a lot of room coming up next year. Possibly they're looking at this as, let's just hold the brakes, see what is going to happen for next year when we have tons of room on our cap, and we can do more with our lineup. See, they got to sign Patrick Lioney next year, but they don't have to bring Paul Stasny back. They don't have to bring Perot back. They can bring Paul Stasny. He's cheaper. Adam Lowry's going to need a new contract. That's going to be a little higher. They've got a lot of these defensemen who, if they don't work out, maybe the free agency will be a little better next year. A little patient. Also, you have expansion coming up, so there could be some players falling off the tree that are pretty cheap as teams want to get some value for players that they don't want to just give to the Seattle team. This looks like a very patient approach. I'll give them that, but since the team isn't any better really than it was last year, I'm giving it a C, Mr. John. Thanks for subscribing to John's channel, my channel, and all the likes that you give. We love it. It helps the channel a lot. You guys are awesome. That's my full 42. Have a great day. Lots of love to ya.
Wow, I just want to say thank you so much to Pearlo for coming on this video. And man, he went over pretty much everything there was to go over about with the Winnipeg Jets. So with that said, I just want to throw a couple of comments in here at the end and then finish this video up, as this is certainly quite a long one. I think bringing back Paul Stastny, a legitimate second-line center to play behind Mark Scheifele and really give them a 1-2 punch down the middle, was a very nice move for the Jets. Brian Little not going to play this coming season, might never play again. He'll be headed to LTIR. They needed a second-line center, and Paul Stastny can certainly be a very good one at that. So I love that move. Much like Pearlo, I am a little worried about the goaltending. Not Connor Hellebuck. I mean, Connor Hellebuck is a Vezina-level goaltender, one of the absolute best in the league. But we're going into a condensed season where you're going to be playing a lot of games in a short period of time and a lot of back-to-back situations as well. You need to have a good backup goaltender. Connor Hellebuck cannot play every single night. And Laurent Brossoit has not yet shown that he can be a guy that's going to play a lot of games over the course of a season. So that is an area of concern. Now, maybe Brossoit has a really nice year this year and does live up to being a solid backup goalie. And if he does, that's great news for Winnipeg. But I'm just a little worried about that because he hasn't been a guy that's played a lot and hasn't put up great numbers when he has played. So I think they rely a little too heavily on Hellebuck, especially heading into a season where they're going to be in back-to-back situations a lot, and tiring out Hellebuck is going to be a real possibility for them. Up front, I mean, we know that they're very good up front. They have a great forward group, particularly their top six is just absolutely loaded. The defense is still a question. Obviously, they brought in Forbert, they re-signed Demelo, but they're playing guys in roles that are bigger than what they should be playing in. And they're not, I don't look at the Winnipeg Jets as a vastly improved team from what they were last year. And last year they were a borderline playoff team. So I think they're going to be right around there again this year, a borderline playoff team. They have some really, really good things going in their favor, but there's also some big question marks, particularly defense and backup goaltending as well, that they really haven't addressed. So they're going to be an interesting team to watch, to say the least. I think maybe they could try and compete for a wild card spot. I think it's more than likely they're probably just on the outside of the playoffs looking in. But, that's all just speculation. We don't know for sure yet. But those are my thoughts on the Winnipeg Jets. Thank you again to Pearlo for coming on and going so in-depth about this team and going over everything. So with that, like, comment, share, subscribe, follow on social media. All those links are down in the description. If you'd like to further support the channel, links to our Patreon merchandise store and donation link are in the description as well. Keep spreading the word about this channel. Let's keep this thing growing. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you guys soon.